This is Note-Taking Guide 4.9 for Math 1. So today we're going to use some various types of information, and then we're going to write the recursive and explicit functions for each arithmetic or geometric sequence. So the biggest problem here is going to be knowing whether or not it's an arithmetic or a geometric sequence. So we're going to have to see whether or not it has a common ratio or a common difference. We could even just graph it sometimes and see if that works, because if it's a line, it's arithmetic. If it's a curve, it's geometric. So we've learned a lot of things over the course of this chapter to help us decide whether or not things are algebraic or geometric. So let's see if we can figure this out. I guess I just said algebraic, which is another word for arithmetic. So if you ever hear that, just know that that's the same. So let's take a look at this first one. Our goal is to write a recursive and an explicit function for this, what's going on here. So the very first thing I want to do is kind of write out some ordered pairs that I know. So my first term has one box. My second term has 3 boxes. My third term has 5 boxes. My fourth term has 7 boxes. Now, if I were to just look at my actual values here, I have 1, 3, 5, 7. And I can actually find the pattern in those. I know to get from 1 to 3 and from 3 to 5 I add 2. So I know that this is going to be arithmetic, which is important. Because if it's arithmetic, then I'm going to follow those arithmetic formulas. And like I said, those are important to know which formulas you're supposed to be using when. So we're going to use arithmetic formulas here in order to solve these, or to write the formulas. We need to actually start with the arithmetic ones. So our formula for arithmetic function can be found on Note-Taking Guide 4.3. But before we do any of the formulas, let's just actually graph this and see what it looks like. So I'm over 1 and up 1. I'm over 2 and up 3. I'm over 3 and up 5. I'm over 4 and up 7. So again, you can tell that this is arithmetic because it's linear. So let's go and let's write our formula now for our explicit function. So our explicit function, like I said, I'm getting this formula off of section 4.3. It said a sub n equals a sub 1 plus the common difference times n minus 1. And I just have to know the things to plug in. So I don't know what term I'm looking for. I'm just wanting to write a formula. But my first term was 1. My common difference was 2. And then I'm just going to write n minus 1 in there just like that. Okay. So a sub n, if I wanted to simplify this, I'd have 1 plus 2n minus 2. Combine those like terms together, and you get a sub n equals 2n minus 1. Okay. So here's my original formula if I plug it in right there. And here is it if I have it simplified. Okay, so the recursive formula, the other formula, actually has to be dependent upon the previous term. So if you remember, we added 2 to our previous term. So our current term is going to be our previous term, and then we're going to add our common difference to that. So we're going to add 2. So the recursive formula can just be that previous term plus 2. Okay, questions on that? All right, good. Let's go on to the next one then. Okay, this next one is a table of values again. So let's just graph it and see what it looks like. Our ordered pairs are 1, 3, so we're over 1 and up 3. We're over 2 and up 6. We're over 3 and up 12. And then we're over 4 and up 24. Oh. Okay. My finger touched that a lot of times. I didn't really mean to touch when I was counting. but 24 is going to be up there like that somewhere. So this is definitely a curve, which means that this is geometric, which means I have a common difference that I need to find. How do I get from 3 to 6? How do I get from 6 to 12? Well, I actually times by 2 to get there. So my common difference is going to be the number 2. My first term is the number 3. So what I need to do now is I just need to grab that formula off of my note-taking guide for geometric. And geometric sequence says that their note-taking guide was 4.5. So we're just going to go to the note-taking guide from 4.5. And we're going to just use that information from there to write our formulas. So the first one, the explicit formula, the formula is a sub n equals a sub 1 plus r to the n minus 1. And we just have to substitute our numbers in there. So the first term is a1, and it was 3 up in our chart. Our common ratio is 2, and then we're just going to be n minus 1. So depending on what term we're looking for, this is the formula we're going to use. The recursive formula looks like this. So r times the previous term. So our r value is 2, and then we're just going to times it by our previous term. So there's our two equations for our set of data that was given to us, and that's really all we have to do today. So nice job. Thanks for listening, and have a great time doing your homework. Good luck.